So, what's up, guys? I wanted to do a bit of a, not a rant, but a little my take of gaming as a whole today. Uh, we're gonna touch base on the next gen consoles, but I wanna I wanna just come out and say that the stuff regarding the Xbox One is, I'd say, a little ridiculous, considering that the PC has had Steam for years now and nobody cares that you can't give your games to your friends and whatnot. But like, I understand that it was a big change for a lot of only console gamers. That the change from DRM list to DRM is a ridiculous thing to take into account in that very little amount of time that we heard about the Xbox. I just hit my keyboard there. At the time between the Xbox reveal and E3, we were hearing stuff about DRM, but we weren't, you know, going so into it. But then at E3, when they announced all these features, I was a little taken back at first, but after reading and understanding what Microsoft wanted to do with these certain features, I finally concluded that the DRM that they were going to enforce on the console would probably be for the future and not, like, right now. As of right now, it would suck. Like, when Steam came out, it sucked. You had to be always signed in, you had to do all this stuff. It took Steam a few years to actually become offline mode, so you can play when your internet's out or whatever, or on the go on a laptop. But the consoles never had that. Like, I could just take my Xbox to a hotel room and play, or to a friend's house to play, or to a cottage, everything like that. And I usually bring my console to play movies on. So, like, it's better just lugging this in the box that I have for it, a special box. And I just throw it in the car, and I don't have to worry about getting damaged. And yeah, so that was gonna lock your console after a day of not connecting to the internet. I find that a little ridiculous. I'd say maybe 2 weeks. Like, you can't just say, okay, 24 hours, that's it. You're pirating the console. Like, it's a like, you're not gonna update anything that fast. Like, if I have an update one day, in 24 hours I'm not gonna have the next update. Like, it's just, I find that statement was a little ridiculous from Microsoft, obviously. And yeah, I didn't agree with that. So, like, that, I agree with you guys that wanted to change it. That day, 24-hour DRM was ridiculous. That's for sure. But the other part that everybody hated was, well, nobody seen coming, but it was gonna come, was all digital. So, I like, to touch on that, it's basically Steam, where you buy a game and the day of it downloads, and then boom, you got it on your console. You never have to switch discs, you never have to do whatever. And movies have gone that way, and nobody hated it. Like, everybody who has Netflix, everybody who has certain TV providers that provide you with a rental service on channel 900 or stuff like that, you guys all took into account that that's awesome. Streaming movies is like, that's top of the line right there. You don't have to go to a video store. You don't have to go and buy it. You just $7 or $5 and you rent it for the 24-hour period you have it. But the console was gonna have an ability for you to share a game with up to 10 of so-called family. So you make a group of 10 people, and basically, if I bought a game and somebody wanted to play it, I give them the rights or the license to use it, and then they give me back the license after, when they're done. I can't play the game at the same time, but like, if you want to try out a game, or guy finished a single player game and they want to play it, like, you just go around the line. I think that's more sophisticated than going over to somebody's house and giving them the disc. Like, I just, a piece of hardware is a lot worse than a piece of software, a piece of hardware you can lose, damage. Like there's infinite number of possibilities. Like if you damage a digital copy, like I don't even know how you would do that. So like that's one of the things that the Xbox One had going for it. The other thing, I'm gonna talk about PlayStation 4 in a moment. Don't worry, it's not an Xbox, just Xbox-a-thon if you want to call it or whatever. It's the pros and cons of the console was they didn't change the controller for Xbox, which was awesome. The plugging in TV thing is like mutual for me because I like watch TV maybe 4 hours a week, like maybe not even. I'm usually watching YouTube stuff, so I never actually have a box with HDMI into the TV. So that's like on the middle for me. It's not like, oh my god, I can't believe they added that, or yes, I can't believe they added that. But like it doesn't matter for me, so I'm gonna put it right in the middle. I don't say it's a pro or a con because it's not gonna make me not buy the console or buy the console. But it's a neat feature, not gonna lie. And with the 8 gigs of RAM, that is like top of the line, awesome. If you can just minus Connect, that's a con. That's a big con for me for Xbox One. It's fun to play with Connect for like 4 hours out of the entire lifetime of the console. Like it's just that thing that you pick up when you have family over to laugh and stuff like that. It's really fun when you have friends and family over and you're just screwing around playing like football and running like an idiot. But yeah, that's I think a con to me because it adds to the price of the actual console. Now I'm not mad at that price that they put. I think it's $499. I'm not mad at that $500 price tag because like PC gamers know that, you know, just to build, well, it doesn't only play games, but for a good gaming rig, you know, you're spending $1,200, $1,300 on a gaming rig that does everything else. I'm not gonna lie, but it's still that initial $1,400. But the price tag is like a little high for me, but you do have the Kinect, whatever, and the controller's the same. That's a pro for me. I wish we heard more about the network, how they upgraded it, not just how many servers they did. So I'm interested to see when it comes out. Will it crash? Will it do what it did like at the Battlefield release or the Halo release, which was a big release for Xbox, and they couldn't hold the servers and they had to shut them down. Battlefield did that too. When the demo came out and then when the game came out, the demo I think crashed a total of 7 times. That's obvious. Well, not a demo, a beta. That's obvious. It's a beta, especially early beta. You obviously get your exploits out of the way, your issues with server lag and stuff like that. But when the game came out, it crashed because obviously not as many people played it. More people played it on the game than the beta. But yeah, I'm interested to see that take on the new servers because I've heard they've upgraded servers, more servers, a lot more servers, and I'm interested to see how fast the console reacts with the internet as one, because I don't want to see like the Xbox 360, how it has all these problems on a wired connection to a modem, how it has all these problems not signing you in and doing having lag, tons of lag because no Call of Duty game has dedicated servers supposedly. Yeah, and the games that do have dedicated servers, the console doesn't have enough like network power inside to bother helping out with lag. But yeah, I'm interested for the releases for the new console. I'm interested to see Destiny. I'm interested to see Halo 5, obviously. Hopefully they don't go anymore with the Gears series. I think I'm finished with that series because Epic's not making it anymore. GTA 5 will not roll out, or as of right now, it will not roll out on the next gen consoles or PC. And there's a big backstory to why they're not bringing it out to PC, and it's piracy. So take what you will away from that. But like the Rockstar's in a very, like, they're very on the edge with it because they want to bring it out to more of their fans, but they already produced that game for this console. Like, they didn't get a next gen dev kit or a Drago or something, whatever. Durango was the dev kit that they were gonna get for the Xbox to produce stuff on it, and Xbox only sent that to a select few people, and it was probably within their own Microsoft Studios, and very close game developers to them, namely Activision and Bungie at the time, I would guess, if the console's that old or that old in production. But yeah, I'm interested for the game slate of both consoles. Both consoles, we've seen PlayStation really amp up their collection in the past year, especially with Last of Us. Last of Us was an amazing game, amazing story, and it really blew me away. For, like, I could never think that I could have fun on a PlayStation game since the PlayStation 1 or 2 when Battlefront 2. I loved the Spyro games and the Crash Bandicoot games, and that's when I stopped playing PlayStation. Was then I stopped playing at those games. Like Crash Bandicoot, I think the last Spyro I bought, which was like Year of the Dragonfly or something like that, was the last time I bought something new for the PlayStation. So, like, take what you will away from it. I've played PlayStation 3 a lot. I don't like the controller. I used to like the controller, but I find that the triggers that you have on the PlayStation is just not up to par. And I don't like that they have a trigger and they flipped the way you shoot, where it's well, I would call them bumpers, but I guess it's like R1 and R2, how they aim and shoot, but then the triggers that feel like gun triggers aren't used. I don't like that as much. I don't know why they flip it. If Xbox has it the same way, you don't even have to code it differently, but whatever, however they did that. The PlayStation 4 looks very sleek. It's a good looking console. It's promising, especially now that they're going to paid subscription, or so I hear. Comment in the comments and post a link for us to see if there's any new news on that, please. But as of I've heard, like right now, there's a subscription to pay. It's like exactly the same as Xbox. So if they upgrade their servers and don't have a problem with their console once it comes out, like they're awesome, because that's the one thing that I had problems with, was that also the limited amount of games that actually came out exclusive on that console. I'm not a Little Big Planet fan, and Uncharted for me was like that the gameplay was awesome, but the story was mediocre. I know if hey, you guys have problems with me saying that, put that in the comments. I don't mind. Doesn't matter. Like, tell me I'm an idiot. I've been called that before. But yeah. So the Uncharted series I thought was a good series. It wasn't garbage, but I don't see myself running out and buying a console for it. Basically, yeah, any of the Naughty Dog games, it's worth buying a console for. But the more games go multi-platform, the less I feel the need to actually get a PlayStation. Because I was excited on the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation press conference or whatever at E3. I was happy to hear that Kingdom Hearts was coming out for the next gen console, and I was like, that's one of also my all-time favorite games from PlayStation 2. Was that I love that game, and yeah, that's like probably one of my top favorite games. And to hear it coming out on PlayStation, I'm like, well, maybe I'm gonna have to buy a PlayStation. I will never get rid of the Xbox or not buy a new Xbox, because I just love Bungie, and now 343 took over Halo, and they did a really good job with Halo 4. So I wouldn't not buy an Xbox One and buy a PlayStation. That's not gonna happen, because a lot of my friends play on Xbox, and PlayStation I have like 4 maybe that play on PlayStation, and not even online, just play. So yeah, the that's a big thing for me when that came out, and then a few hours later, I'm sorry, my dog's barking. A few hours later, they released that it was coming to Xbox One also, and Forza 4 also got an. Oh, see, now I'm going back into the Xbox One. The anyways, back to PlayStation. If they upgrade their network and they get a few more exclusives, which we've heard a lot of developers are starting to develop exclusively for PlayStation. PlayStation could really turn this around, because the flack that Microsoft has gotten these past few months has been like tremendous. And first the VCR comments, and now the DRM comments. They've spent a lot of time on this console. Don't shit on like what people do for a living. Like, it's not right. I understand you guys are mad at some of the things that Microsoft might say, Microsoft might do, but I don't think it's worth to call somebody out on it and just like shit on their day, basically, because they've spent a lot of time and effort trying to make this console like you would want it, and you're just gonna piss it out the window because there's a DRM issue with you can't play used games. Like, I find that a little absurd. But anyways, back to PlayStation. If like the controller, if those triggers are better, I will definitely buy a PlayStation 4. Not right away, maybe after Christmas, or maybe a bit later into the summer or spring maybe. But there's a definite possibility that I could buy a PlayStation as well as an Xbox. So yeah, and we might see the GTA 5. I started saying GTA 5 because I seen GTA 4 box on my desk. GTA 5 will probably come to next gen, and praying that it comes to PC. But PlayStation, right? Sony is in a very good position for winning E3, as they call it. And I think they have a chance to run away with it, but they just have to not screw up. Like, recently, Kotaku released, I think it was Kotaku, I'm going to put it in the description, but recently they put a article up that now Sony is trying to do the exact same thing as Microsoft did, but they're trying to under the radar kind of thing. Like, not, it's hard to explain. It's not telling you that they're doing DRM, but it is DRM. It's like, it's a very, it's on the line for mixing what they're doing. And we've seen Sony do that before, where they come out and, like, Microsoft comes out and says paid subscription for Xbox Live, and then Sony, hey, it's free over here. And then now next gen they do it. Like, they just let Xbox get all the gamers used to these little features, and then they throw it out on their next console because they want to make money. Like, well, everybody wants to make money. Even you want to make money. Don't blame corporations that want to make money. This console is not cheap to produce, and definitely not cheap to design. Neither of these consoles are. So this fact that you guys scream saying Microsoft wants money, Sony wants money, like, they need to make money to survive and provide you content with games and DLCs and different features for video and music on your separate consoles. So, like, shitting on a console developer because they need to make money is like, why do you need a job, is basically what you're saying. Like, you need money. You have to pay your employees. It's not like they only have 4 employees and they make $8 billion a year. They're a company. They have multi-stages of people that work for them. It's not cheap to run that company. It's definitely their profit margins are big for both companies, but it's not cheap to run that company. And you have to spend money that you get back into the development team to develop your new consoles and whatnot. So I got a little checklist here. So yeah, I did that. PC to next gen is what I wrote here, and I'm gonna think about what I wrote that for. But sorry, I'm gonna have to talk out of my ass here because I don't remember why I wrote that. I guess I wrote that for the console's 8 core upgrade. So the new consoles come out with 8 cores, GDDR3. Regardless of what you think is in the PlayStation 4, it is GDDR3. There is no way they have GDDR5 inside the console when 4 hasn't come out yet. The next generation Intel cores, which is after Haswell, which is Skyline, I think, will be able to use GDDR4. So that is the graphics card memory. I don't know if they're allowed to write the graphics card memory as the RAM, but I know for a fact that 8 gigs of RAM on a video card is unheard of, first off, and there's only 2 cards that come close to it with 6 gigabytes. It's the Titan or the Ares 2, I believe, the 27970s. Anyways, that's 7990s, I mean, or whatever it is. But yeah, if you're into, computer specs. But regardless of what they tell you, that's what it is. GDDR3, 8 gigabytes of RAM. And also, that's not a big upgrade. Like, RAM does not really make a difference in gaming. It makes a difference in Photoshop and different applications like that, where it's really RAM dependent. But the new upgrades bring the console up to a mediocre PC, which is 8 gigs, an 8-core processor, which is not too mediocre, but at 1.9 gigahertz, to keep that thing cool, it is a little under the radar, considering that we're reaching 5 gigahertz on the new AMD platform. Is astounding right out of the box, regardless if it's going to be given to you at 5 gigs, but you see that there's a processor that they make right out of the box that is 5 gigahertz. But like, putting that aside, the specs of the console, they're exactly to a mediocre PC. So PC gamers worldwide, you will finally get your good ports for certain games, and I am ecstatic about that. I played Sleeping Dogs, and that was an upset on the PC because of the bad port. Also, the early GTA 4 when it came out. Sorry guys, I'm a little sick here. But also the early GTA 4 when it came out was a big deal for the community because the port sucked. And I'm not going to say that's the reason why a lot of people pirated it, but also when you bring out a game almost 2 years later, there's going to be a lot of piracy because they've already bought it on their console. So that's where I think PC is going in the next year. When the next gen consoles come out, you're going to see a lot of better ports, or even games that are developed for the PC and ported to the consoles because of how they're almost the same in architecture, especially with the Xbox using a Windows 8 variant, which is astounding that they're using a real-world OS on our consoles. And Sony, I'm not sure what they use. If they use some sort of Windows platform, that's even better because you have both consoles, you build from the PC down to them. So we're going to see like big changes. And with the new, well, for techies, with the new OS coming out, which is Windows 8.1, with the upgrade from the Metro and everything, like little feature fixes, I just dropped my book, so now I'm blind. But you can really see the gaming take off because now gamers will actually use Windows 8. Windows 8 is a very fast platform. Don't get me wrong. I hate it, but it's a fast platform. Like, touchscreen TVs is like, I'm not going to touch my monitor. There's just no way. Yeah, so that's consoles and next gen stuff where it's going, in my opinion. If you guys like this, comment. Subscribe if you want more of it. Comment, especially if you guys want more. Just comment. Just tell me, give me topics that if you want to talk about, or I can just talk about anything. I can make this weekly or like bi-weekly. I don't care. It doesn't matter. If you guys like it, I'll make it for you. This is Irish 3 for the Canadian Gaming Tube, and I'm signing off.